1. And number 1. The story of Persephone. Demeter was the Greek goddess of the harvest. She made all the plants grow on earth. Demeter had a lovely daughter, Persephone. She was so beautiful that flowers blossomed whenever she danced. Deep down below the earth, Hades, the king of the underworld, had heard of the beautiful Persephone. Hades had everything except a queen. So he decided to do something about it. One day, when Persephone was picking flowers, Hades came out from the ground suddenly and carried poor Persephone down to the underworld. Hades made Persephone his queen and gave her lots of beautiful clothes. But Persephone didn't like the cold, dark world. She became sad and sleep and didn't want to eat anything. Back on earth, Demeter crazy looked for her daughter, but couldn't find her anywhere. Demeter became so sad that she could no longer bring life to the world. The earth turned brown, leaves fell off the trees, ice covered the ground, and nothing green. High up on Mountain Olympus, the king of all Greek gods, Zeus, saw what was happening down on earth. He didn't like what he saw and sent him messenger, Hermes, to visit Hades. Hermes told Hades to let Persephone go. If Zeus said you can go, then you can go, said Hades to Persephone, but just have a piece of fruit before you go. You won't get tired on your way home. Persephone ate the fruit and then went back home. Demeter was so happy to see her daughter back. But when Persephone told her mother she had eaten the fruit of the underworld, Demeter became sad again, because she knew there was a rule in the underworld. Anyone who ate Hades' food belonged to his kingdom forever. Just then Zeus showed up and said, I know you are sad, but a rule is a rule. Persephone has to go back to Hades, but not forever, just for part of the year. I promise she will go back to you every year, and for the Greeks. Thank you.
3号去抽签，4号待会预备。Hello everyone, I'm number 2. The story of Persephone. Demeter was the Greek goddess of harvest. She made all the plants grow on earth. Demeter had a lovely daughter, Persephone. She was so beautiful that flowers blossomed whenever she danced. Deep down below the earth, Hades, the king of the underworld, had heard of the beautiful Persephone. Hades had everything except a queen, so he decided to do something about it. One day, when Persephone was picking flowers, Hades came out from the grove suddenly and carried poor Persephone down to the underworld. Hades made Persephone his queen and gave her lots of beautiful clothes. But Persephone didn't like the cold, dark world. She became sad and sullen and didn't want to eat anything. Back on earth, Demeter quietly looked for her daughter, but couldn't find her anywhere. Demeter became so sad that she could no longer bring life to the world. The earth turned brown, leaves fell off the trees, ice covered the ground, and nothing grew. High up on Mountain Olympus, the king of all Greek gods, Zeus, saw what was happening down on earth. He didn't like what he saw and sent his messenger, Hermes, to visit Hades. Hermes told Hades to let Persephone go. If Zeus said you can go, then you can go, to Persephone, but just have a piece of fruit before you go, so you won't get tired on your way home. Persephone ate the fruit and then went back home. Demeter was so happy to see her daughter back, but when Persephone told her mother and had eaten the fruit of the underworld, Demeter became sad again, because she knew there was a rule in the underworld. Anyone who ate Hades' fruit belonged to his kingdom forever. Just then Zeus shot out and said, "I know you are sad, but a rule is a rule." Persephone had to go back to Hades, but not forever, just for a part of the year. I promise she'll go back to you every year, and follow Greek that while the season changed every year, when it was time for Persephone to go back to Hades, Demeter missed her so much that the wind turned cold, the plants died, and it was winter again. But when Persephone came back to her mother, the trees turned green, the flowers blossomed, the birds sang, and it was spring once again. Thank you.
来，上场同学注意一下，如果你的声音很小的话，麦克风拿近一点；如果你声音音量很大，麦克风就拿远一点。你的麦克风远近可以影响到大家听的感觉啊，自己控制麦克风的远近。
Hello everyone, I'm number 3, Echo and Narcissus. Echo was one of the nymphs that lived in the forest. She was very good at talking. She could tell great stories, but she was a bit too talkative. One day Hera, queen of the gods, came from Mount Olympus to look for her husband Zeus. Hera was in a hurry, and she was not a patient woman. She tried to ask Echo if she had seen Zeus, but Echo kept on interrupting her. That made Hera very angry, so he decided to fix the problem. She pointed to Echo and said, "From now on you will only be able to repeat what has just been said to you. That will make you a better listener. Now, leave me." Echo tried to ask Hera to forgive her, but all she could say was, "Now, leave me." Poor Echo was alone and sad until one day she saw a handsome boy, Narcissus, who was hunting in the forest. She fell in love right away. She wanted to tell him so, but she could not say a word until someone spoke first. Echo had to wait for the right moment. Narcissus was such a handsome boy that many girls had fallen in love with him, but no one could ever get his attention. Today, Narcissus happened to see his own reflection in the water, and the beautiful face caught his eye right away. He looked at himself in the water and said, "You are fabulous." This was Echo's chance. She hid behind a rock and repeated, "You are fabulous." Narcissus became more and more enchanted with his own reflection. Now he saw it heard the reply and said, "I love you." "I love you," repeated Echo. But as Narcissus tried to touch the face in the water, it just disappeared. "Don't leave me," cried Narcissus, and he followed him into the water. Echo rushed out from behind the rock, but it was too late. All that she could say was, "Don't leave me." Echo was very sad. She walked alone in the mountains without eating or drinking, and slowly she faded away. The Greeks believe Echo still lives in the mountains, and today you can still hear her repeating the words called out to her. That's what he called the sound of echoes. And Narcissus did not disappear forever. In fact,
Good afternoon, everyone. The
story of Persephone. Demeter was the Greek goddess of harvest. She made all the plants grow on earth. Demeter had a lovely daughter, Persephone. She was so beautiful that flowers blossomed wherever she danced. Deep down below the earth, Hades, the king of the underworld, had heard of the beautiful Persephone. Hades had everything except a queen, so he decided to do something about it. One day, when Persephone was picking flowers, Hades came out from the ground suddenly and carried poor Persephone down to the underworld. Hades made Persephone his queen and gave her lots of beautiful clothes. But Persephone didn't like the cold, dark world. She became sad and silent and didn't want to eat anything. Back on Earth, Demeter crazily looked for her daughter, but couldn't find her anywhere. Demeter became so sad, so she decided she could not longer bring life to the world. The earth turned brown, leaves fell off the trees, ice covered the ground, and nothing grew. High up on Mountain Olympus, the king of all Greek gods, Zeus, saw what was happening down on earth. He didn't like what he saw and sent his messenger, Hermes, to visit Hades. Hermes told Hades to let Persephone go. If Zeus says you can go, then you can go, said Hades to Persephone. But just have a piece of fruit before you go, so you won't get tired on your way home. Persephone ate the fruit and then went back home. Demeter was so happy to see her daughter back. But when Persephone told her mother she had eaten the fruit of the underworld, Demeter became sad again, because she knew there was a rule in the underworld. Anyone who ate Hades' food belonged to his kingdom forever. Just then, Zeus showed up and said, I know you're sad, but a rule is a rule. Persephone has to go back to Hades, but not forever, just for part of the year. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm number 5. My topic is Helios and Persephone. Helios was the sun god. Every morning, he carried the sun in a chariot and rose from the east, bringing light to the world. At noon, he rose to the highest place, giving the highest light of the day. Then he started to go down toward the west, giving a sunset and the end of the day. Helios had a son named Phaethon, but Helios didn't know about his son until Phaethon visited his palace and told him the truth. Helios was very happy to see Phaethon. In fact, he was so proud of his brave son that he told him he would give him anything he wanted. Father, I want to carry the sun across the sky, like you do, just one time. Phaethon told his father, Oh, as for anything else, but not that. It's too dangerous, said Helios. Phaethon had made up his mind, and because Helios had given his word, he could not take it back. So that morning, it was Phaethon that rode the chariot to carry the sun across the sky. At first, everything went well. The chariot went up into the sky. Felsen enjoyed the feeling of power as the sun shone behind him, giving light to the earth. However, there was a lot of horsepower for a young man to control, and things began to go wrong. The horses were used to the powerful hands of Hades, and their power was too strong for Felsen. Suddenly, the chariot began to plunge toward the earth. It burned the earth for many miles, creating deserts, forest fires, and volcanoes. Felsen tried to get the chariot back on track, but he pulled the horses up too sharply, and the chariot was carried so high that ice caps were formed on the cold earth below. Just then the great Zeus struck the chariot with a thunderbolt, and the chariot plunged down into a river. Felsen was lost, but most parts of the earth were safe. Helios, thank you for listening.
Good afternoon, honorable judges, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to be here with you. I'm number 6. Today, my topic is the story of Persephone. The story of Persephone. Demeter was the Greek goddess of earth. She made all the plants grow on earth. Demeter had a lovely daughter, Persephone. She was so beautiful that flowers blossomed wherever she danced. Deep down below the earth, Hades, the king of the underworld, had heard of the beautiful Persephone. Hades had everything except a queen, so he decided to do something about it. One day, when Persephone was picking flowers, Hades came out from the ground suddenly and carried poor Persephone down to the underworld. Hades made Persephone his queen and gave her lots of beautiful clothes. But Persephone didn't like the cold, dark world. She became sad and silent and didn't want to eat anything. Back on Earth, Demeter constantly looked for her daughter, but couldn't find her anywhere. Demeter became so sad that she could no longer be left to the world. The earth turned brown, leaves fell off the trees, ice covered the ground, and nothing grew. High up on Mount Olympus, the king of all Greek gods, Zeus, saw what was happening down on earth. He didn't like what he saw and sent his messenger Hermes to visit Hades. Hermes told Hades to let Persephone go. If Zeus said you can go, then you can go, said Hades to Persephone. But just have a piece of fruit before you go, so you won't get tired on your way home. Persephone ate the fruit and then went back home. Demeter was so happy to see her daughter back, but when Persephone told her mother she had eaten the fruit of the underworld, Demeter became sad again because she knew there was a rule in the underworld. Anyone who ate Hades' food belonged to his kingdom forever. Just then, Zeus showed up and said, I know you're sad, but a rule is a rule. Persephone has to go back to Hades, but not forever, just for part of the year. I promise she'll go back to you every year. And for the Greeks, that's why the seasons change. Every year, when it was time for Persephone to go back to Hades, Demeter missed her so much that the wind turned cold, the plants died, and it was winter again. But when Persephone came back to her mother, the trees turned green, the flowers blossomed, the birds sang, and it was spring again. That's all for my reading. Thank you for your listening.
朗读比赛结束，请稍待片刻。休息时间后，我们将请裁判讲评并宣布比赛名次。
现场听的是，因为大家说要下课。
我们下课完才那个中间10分钟休息，大家就下一节。
下一节。